Welcome back, my dear students. So, we need to find a better way of dealing with data that we have in our application when we are pushing to Heroku or to any other platform. So, right now we are pushing our information when we're doing the git push Heroku master, right? We're pushing this to the cloud. And this is not very recommended, okay? You don't want to do this. So we need to find a way to secure our information so nobody sees this when we're pushing data, and a more flexible way to switch from development to production environment. Okay, so I'm going to create a couple more files here, and we're going to try to do some type of if conditions, trying to detect to see if we are in production or development. And then depending on that, we're going to be either using a database that is in our system or a remote database. We want to use the remote database when we are in production. So we need to find a way to detect that. Now, if I go here, you can see that I'm including this file. So this is going to be our main file here. This is where we're going to be having some type of if conditions, okay, detecting to see where we are, right? Either in production or development. So I'm going to create a couple more files here, and you can name this whatever you want. So this is going to be my development database .js, and I only want to include that to Git if I want to. This is why my ID is showing in red, because I already have a Git initialized here, a Git repository, excuse me, and this is not added yet. Okay, if I add that file, git add config def, enter, you can see that that changes to green now. You see that? Okay, so I hope you see how this is working. Then at the end, when we're done, we usually do git add to add everything, git add dot, and git commit. But anyway, so that's another tutorial. So we have that file. Let's create another file here for production. Database. I'm losing my voice, guys. There we go. And what I want to do is I want to copy this guy here to my development and product. So I don't want to have this in the def. I want to have this there. Okay. And in production, I don't want to have this. I just want to have that. Okay. I hope you see how this is working. So here's what we need to detect our environment. Okay. And we can do an if condition here. Really, really simple. Okay. So remember when we changed this here, all the way at the bottom here, this process.env, this process here, if you remember in the beginning of the course, this is how we access our environment, the process in Node.js, okay? And this environment has everything that's on the server, right? We can create different variables and add it to that. Right now, this port, it's what Heroku is going to be looking for, and by default Heroku can give this any value they want, but it's going to be looking for this here. So that's why we are making this dynamic, because Heroku or any other hosting provider is going to be looking for the value for this specific name here, port. Okay, whatever the port they use, they're going to be accessing this, and we need to provide that information then when we are deploying. Okay, so we're going to be using process.env to play around with that. So here in database, I'm going to do if the process.env node, this is another one that they are going to be looking for, environment. Okay, this is a built-in environment variable there that they are going to be looking for. Okay, the servers, and this has a value already. And the environment value, if we are in Heroku or some other platforms, would be the value would be production. This is the default value, most of them. Okay, So if we are in production, we should do something, right? Well, what we're going to be doing is exporting. We're going to be adding actually to our exports object the def database, right? Actually, if we are in production, we're going to do the prod. And it's actually, let's rename this. It's prod. There we go, for production. There we go. If we're not in production, let's do an else statement here real quick. We're going to be adding the dev database. So there we go. It would be nice if it wasn't misspelled. Okay, perfect. So that's really awesome that we got that. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that when we are in production, we could put this value in Heroku. I'll show you that right now. So with Heroku, we could, and let's go to Heroku real quick. Let me see where it is. It's been a while since I used this. Let's go to settings real quick. Oh, there we go. We could create variables here to keep this information from being in our application. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this, and I forgot how to cut. And I'm gonna create a environment variable there. I'm gonna call this give it a name, whatever name required. Let's just call it Mongo URI or LI. Let's call it MongoDB URI, like this. Value, I'm gonna paste it in there, and I'm gonna add it. Now I'm gonna copy this and make sure that I have it in here. Okay, so now I could do the process env dot URL there. Oh, that environment name variable. All right, so that should do it. Prod, that's the prod. This is the development. This is database right here. So now let's turn our application on, nodemon app. Now let's actually push this to Heroku, git add. So we're gonna add it. Remember to go to your command prompt, git add, or your terminal, or do it in the IDE. Git commit -m, added environment variables. We did a little bit more than that, right? Enter, git push Heroku master. There we go. Enter. And let's see this in action here. I think there is a command to actually open up our application. I think it's Heroku open, if I'm not mistaken. You can always go to the documentation, guys, and find more commands that you can use. So let me see, Heroku open. Let's see if that works. Okay, it probably is opening somewhere. There we go. Okay, so it looks like our application is working. There we go, guys. So now if I, misspell this right there and I add it, let's see if commit testing, and then we do Heroku push master to see if this is working. I'm just gonna misspell this and see what we get. Okay, if that is a problem, if we're not including the database correctly, then we would not be able to insert data, right? So this is already having an issue here. Okay, as you can see, it's hanging there. So our application is having issues already. Okay, So let's go back and fix this. Let's do Command Z or Control Z, and let's go back here, and I'm just gonna add, and let's commit. I hope you see how this works. I wanted to do this too, so that way you can see how we do version control. And then Heroku, git push Heroku master. Okay. And now you see that we have some type of error here in our application because of what we did on the last couple seconds ago. But now when this is done, it should be fixed. Okay. So let's wait for this. There we go. It's almost done. And now if we refresh our application should be fixed. Okay. There we go. So now it's working. So now you see this is a simple way of testing things to see if they're working. Okay. Pretty cool stuff. So now our data is not in our files. Okay. Keep that in mind. So now everything is good. We have our data here in Heroku as a variable, and you can keep adding more information that you don't want to be out there. Perfect, guys. I guess the next step is to show you how to add your domain or something like that to it. That would be really nice, right? And look at that npm start right here. You see that? This is how Heroku knows how to start your application. We already covered that. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you on the next lectures.